Hi, everyone. Welcome to the second annual Startup Challenge. My name is Molly Crowley. I'm with the Career Office here at Missouri S&T, and we are going to get started. Thank you to the judges who came today, and as soon as the first team comes in, we will kick off. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Kazuma Taira, and we're the team for kangaroo-style incubator, and this is how it goes. Yep. Okay. So we're going to present our product.
Hi, I'm Devin Petrunik. I am a sophomore here at Missouri S&T. I'm majoring in computer science and minoring in computer engineering, and I'm also a part of the biomedical engineering team here on campus.
Hi, my name is Laura Schmader. I'm also part of the biomedical engineering design team. I am a freshman and I am majoring in biology.
Okay. And I'm Kazuma Taira. I'm biological science major, and I'm minoring in chemistry, neuroscience, and I'm also the member of biomedical engineering design team.
Okay, so our product is Kangaroo Mother Care Incubator. The purpose of it is to provide kangaroo mother care to newborns in the NICU that don't have a mother or father that can do it for them. So kangaroo mother care is skin-to-skin contact with either the mother or the father. It can lead to a decrease in mortality rate. It can also lead to successful breastfeeding, and it can lead to gain weight, which leads to early discharge. So low birth weight has a 40% mortality rate. It can lead to illness and death, and it can cause problems with motor skills, IQ, and can lead to chronic illnesses.
So our product offers certain things that will be added into the NICU unit to provide that KMC care that babies cannot get provided. So such as a replication of the mother's smell or sounds that will resemble a heartbeat, or homeostasis of temperature, so a baby can receive that homeostasis whenever they are in the NICU, and as well as artificial skin for them to be laid upon. This is a replication of what our product would look like. Just inside of a basic NICU unit, there will be an artificial skin, the homeostasis, and the heartbeat, as well as the mother's smell.
So for our business model, we start with how our value is for our product. It's a new intervention or invention, so we don't currently have a product that this is made. The traditional incubator just only has an incubator and does not have any other artificial skin or other factors. We also have more benefits for the baby comparing to the traditions, and it's going to be a high quality, and it's going to be more effective for the baby to have more gain and then be healthy comparing to the normal ones. And also the key resources that we're going to use and we're going to accompany with, it will be with the incubator company, because we are not going to make the entire incubator. So that's one of the things we have. And then another thing is for the skin, we're not going to make the artificial skin. We're going to contact with the companies for the skin to combine those together. And for the cost structure, it's going to be value driven. It's more for the value rather than reducing the cost, because it will cost more. And for the finances, we're trying to get it from like competitions, sponsors that we're going to get it from, and the important cost will be the incubators, because that will cost a lot of money. So that's what we have. And for the end users who's going to benefit from it is obviously the babies and the parents. So the babies having low weight is more of our target, because usually health babies don't need the incubator. However, the low weight babies does need it. And the parents who have like busy times or a certain circumstances that they could not give a kangaroo mother care, that's when we use this product. And the channels that we're using is the hospitals. We're not gonna directly sell it to our end users, but we're gonna sell it to the hospitals, and so they're gonna provide those cares to their patients. So this is a graph that shows like a comparison with the tradition and our product. So for the pricing, the yellow indicates a neutral. So a traditional incubator costs like $2,000 to $6,000. It varies, but that's around how much it costs. And for our product, we're gonna add artificial skin and other factors. So that's why we have it red. However, for the also for ease of use, it will be about the same. But traditional incubator is just putting on in the incubator. However, for us, we're having more tilted, resembling more with the mother's circumstance. That's why it's going to be a little bit harder, because it's also a new invention. So that's why it's a little bit harder, and so that's why we put neutral. For effect on infants, definitely we have more better comparing to the tradition, because we have a lot more factors rather than just homeostasis for incubators. So this will be our break-even analysis, how we're going to estimate the market, how it's going to go. We have the sell price around $8,000, so it's going to be a little bit more expensive than the traditional incubator. And so for that graph, it tells the total cost will be around that orange line, and then the revenue, each year it's going to increase by a certain amount. We have our Excel that shows it, and then we hit around 20 months, and that's around like 120 units that we sell. When we sell around 120 units, that's when we hit the break-even point.
So our future goals on our action plan are pretty simple. For our future goals, we want to test artificial skin in order to find out how effective they are on infants, and as well as research the effects of artificial KMC. And then we will prototype our product and find partner companies to develop this prototype that we have, and then hopefully send it off to a manufacturing unit. So our current step in our action plan is interviewing experts about what we can do or further steps that we can take, and then hopefully it will go on to the prototype and production of our product. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us at any of these.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
If any of you guys have questions, go ahead. And
I have a couple questions.
yes.
One is, how often do hospitals replace their incubators? Do you have market research on that?
They say that usually it's more like cleaning. However, it's not usually maintain cleanness, because the comparison with how much babies they need to be in the incubator comparing to how much incubators they have is not enough. So
there's more demand than there are incubators currently?
Yes. So what they usually say is they're not clean, or I would say like sanitized, I would say. So it's more a risk of them being affected by other bacteria and other things. So that's one of the challenges that they also have. So for us, we don't have like too many incubators. So that's the other thing that we hope that it's going to be manageable comparing to the traditional incubators. If that answered your question.
It did. You mentioned the mother's smell. How do you recreate the mother's smell?
So we do have, you guys have, okay.
So they already have somewhat of a product like this. It's basically where a mother will just wear a certain piece of clothing and their scent will kind of just transfer to that, and then they'll put that shirt onto the baby. So we're hoping of maybe doing something like that where the mother just has a piece of cloth on her and then we can use that to swaddle the baby.
Okay, so it's not going to be integrated into the skin or anything like
No.
that? Okay.
I have a question. Can you give me some indication how you determine the market size? How many babies need this product service, and how do you broke down the need for this product?
Currently, on top of my head, how much they have is might be wrong, but it's yeah. Sorry, I could not say on top of my head how much like they do need in demand, but a lot of developed countries as well as non-developed countries are in need for this care, kangaroo mother care, because a lot of people have been getting low weight births, and there are a lot of data that shows like how many, and it also varies depending on what source. However, they all consistently say that it is important, because how much the low weight babies have been is a little bit increasing as well. So that's what we are targeting for. I think it will be a good thing to look through. That will be also our new plan or future plan to look through our market size, because we haven't actually put that in our slides. So, yes.
Hi, I have a question for you.
Yes.
At the beginning, I was wondering whether your customer would be hospitals or incubator companies that develop them. So I was wondering how you chose hospitals over going to the incubators. And secondary to that, have you thought about retrofitting existing incubators with some components that would achieve the same goal? And if so, why did you choose to do the whole incubator?
Sorry, could you say the first question again? I'm so sorry.
Sure. Sorry to throw two at one time. That was my mistake.
Yeah.
So the first question was, your customer could have been the hospital,
Yes.
or it could have been a company that produces incubators, right, already.
Yes.
And so my question was, why did you select to sell to the hospital as opposed to selling to the incubator company?
Yeah. No. So when we have like a new project, we started with like it was an artificial kangaroo mother care. That was the title that we started with, and we haven't thought of targeting more on the incubator side, but it was more implementing into the NICU, which is the neonatal NICU, or sorry, ICU. So we haven't like thought of going to the incubator company, because we were thinking more of making it original and like implementing more for the hospitals rather than the incubator, because that's what we like kind of started with, and we never have thought of targeting more on the incubator's side. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And then, had you thought about creating a retrofit for existing incubators? That was my second question. Instead of having the hospital buy a whole new incubator with your new product.
Okay. Sorry, what was that? Retros?
Retrofit. So taking an existing incubator in the hospital and replacing or adding components to it.
Yes.
So putting the skin, replacing, let's say, the mat that's there or the pad that's there, the mattress, and putting yours in and adding the components to the existing incubator instead of creating a new one?
That's a good question.
You mentioned iPhone case.
Yes.
iPhone case for iPhone. They can probably go to manufacture iPhone case instead of go to manufacture the whole iPhone.
You guys have idea? No. You're gonna go.
So I think what we were initially thinking is it would make it a little bit easier for everyone to use, because one aspect of the incubator for our product that's different is we want more of a vertical angle for the baby, which is what normal incubators currently don't have. They're more flat. So we were thinking of making a whole new incubator so it can have that vertical and all of our other aspects.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and that wraps up our time for questions. Thank you very much, Team N.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, we're here to present to you Dentifix. It is an innovative solution to replace the current fillings that are on the market today using bioactive glass and hydroxycarbonate acetate. So, first we have Luke Hilbert, a freshman in biological sciences. We have Isaac Kopich, a senior in engineering management. Star Nedved, a freshman in aerospace engineering. And then myself is Emily Pesolato. I'm a senior in chemical engineering, and we're all a part of the biomedical engineering design team on campus.
Okay, just out of curiosity, how many of you have had cavities at some point in your life? Yeah, that's most people. They affect almost all Americans. Currently, 1 in 4 people are walking around with untreated cavities in their mouth. This might be due to a lack of proper access to dental care, due to high costs, or maybe just lack of knowledge that, this is something that can be treated. This is something that they don't have to walk around with. But the widespread problem of cavities has created many other issues, such as 46% of Americans having some form of gum disease. Right? Gum disease, in and of itself, besides just giving you that nasty breath, it can lead to worse problems, such as oral cancers. Right? In the United States, we see about 45,000 new cases of gum cancer each year, and that can spread and lead to about 10,000 deaths a year as a result of this kind of cancer. So you see, there is a need for a good and efficient treatment of cavities.
So our product, Dentifix, is made out of 4,5-S5 bioactive glass infused with magnesium, ions, and hydroxycarbonate. This will increase the mechanical strength and lifetime of the fillings, and it will also heal the tooth as well.
So our group had the opportunity to learn about 9 different business models, and the 3 we chose to highlight are key partners, cost structure, and key activities. So for key partners, we are planning to work with local dentists and hygienists to ensure the tool is easy for them to use and meets their specific needs. For cost structure, we're striving to be cost-driven. So by maintaining costs, we'll maintain the leanest possible cost structure and offer the tool to many people with low price, as well as maintain a value-driven mindset. And we also want to uphold the highest quality and value for our customers. And lastly, we want to focus on key activities because we not only want to sell our product, but we also want to teach the community about oral health and safety, like reaching out to local schools and demonstrating at local dentist offices to ensure everyone's comfortable with using our product.
All right, so our team also looked at the market analysis for our product. So you can see up here is a graph for our break-even analysis. Our break-even point will be at 14 months with 160 units being sold. Each of those units will cost $100,000, and inside that one unit will be 50 separate fillings, making each one roughly about $200. And this eventually will cost our business $2.2 million to break even. And by year 3, our business is estimated to make about $40 million in revenue. So this is our competitive analysis. There are 3 different types of fillings on the market today. So we have composite fillings, silver, and ceramic. We chose to compare them to Dentifix, and in terms of cost, Dentifix is the better choice. It costs about $200, while the composite resin and the silver fillings cost about $500, and the ceramic fillings will cost about $1,500. In terms of strength, Dentifix also is the best, as we're hoping that the mechanical strength will come from the bioactive glass and the hydroxycarbonate acetate being infused into your tooth, while the other 3 have history of chipping your teeth or fractures. And then in terms of plaque removal, Dentifix is also leading the race with that, as we're infusing it with magnesium ions, which will help further remove that process while it's inside your tooth. And the other 3 fall short just a little bit. The silver and the ceramic fillings cause the dentist to have to drill farther into your tooth, while these composite resin fillings have had a history of causing recurrent cavities on the same tooth site. And finally, with the material lifetime, Dentifix also is coming up on the upper end compared with silver. So both of those fillings will last about 15 plus years, while the other 2 fillings have shown to last about 5 to 10. So with our future plans, by winning this competition, we're hoping that these funds will go to beginning our prototyping process. We're hoping to work towards nationals with our design team, and this would definitely help support us. And we also want to continue to reach out to more dentists and make sure that this is something that they would use and ensure that the product is meeting their need, as that's who we're making it for. So we really appreciate you all taking your time today. If there are some questions that aren't answered during the question period, our contact information is listed below, and we would love to reconnect with everybody after this.
Thank you. Very interesting. I have a question. In your cost analysis,
Yes.
you had cost per unit at $10,000, I believe. What does
Yes.
that 10,000? What is that unit you're defining
Yeah.
for $10,000?
So with that unit, we're trying to take into account the bioactive glass, the hydroxycarbonate acetate, the filling device, so the syringe. Hopefully when we begin to expand the business, we're looking at manufacturing companies. So one of the ones we came across was Prime Dental Manufacturing, and it's obviously an estimate, but we're hoping that that cost will allow us to produce something that's equivalent, if not lower, to what the manufacturing costs are for the other devices in order to be able to reach more people. So we're trying to make it so we're not running our business dry, but we're also trying to support the community.
Just for me, how does this work? So what are you providing the material? Are you providing the syringe? And what's the method that you believe is going to drive the dentist to switch to this?
Yes. So if you see that top upper part, that's what we're imagining the cavity looks like in your mouth. Obviously, you're not going to be able to see the bacteria on your tooth, but we're imagining that our product, you're still going to go through that initial process. They're going to scrape it all off, drill into your tooth, remove the visible plaque that they can see, but then instead of inserting the ceramic filling or the silver, they'll use the syringe that we have that's filled with our material and insert that into your tooth. And from there, we're hoping that the magnesium ions not only will get the rest of the bacteria that's present, but we're also hoping that the bioactive glass and the hydroxycarbonate will actually fuse into your tooth. So then it's not just a piece of foreign material in your tooth, it's trying to bring that osteoinductive and regenerative process back into it.
That kind of comes into my question, which is you mentioned that it heals the tooth.
Mm-hmm.
Do other methods heal the tooth, and can you expand upon how that works a little bit?
So pretty much From the research we've done, the other fillings are kind of a placeholder that's put in. But the bioactive glass, there have been other research done on the hard tissues, so the teeth, the bones, other structures like that, and it's healed it pretty much completely. They've gotten nerve sensation back. The structures have fully reformed. So that's what kind of our hope is, to also set us apart so you're not coming back 15 plus years later and you've got this piece of silver in your mouth.
So I have one more question. Would you be looking at like a clinical trial to test this?
Yeah, definitely. I think
on patients, like, yeah.
I definitely think yes. That would be way later down the line. But obviously, just having a tooth as it is, it's not the same as having an actual tooth that's living, growing in your body. So definitely, yeah. I think later down the line, that would be a better subject than just a tooth on like a little plate.
One more question. Sorry. So if you haven't done any clinical trials, how are you going to sell 10,000 units if they haven't been tested? If you don't have the data to prove that they're effective on human patients?
So that's what we're hoping to move towards. So with gathering the materials would be our first initial step, and then we're going to go into the prototyping phase. And then from there, we're going to continue to expand and grow into that clinical trial.
Okay. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Team M.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Ava and these are my friends Devin and Hayden, and we would like to pitch our idea of the safe plate. Okay, so picture this. The year is 2020 and COVID has just prevented people from going to public gyms. Because of this, at-home gyms are the new thing. And when you're at your at-home gym, you have your own barbell. The barbell, if you're alone in your gym, the barbell can fall on you, and a situation like this could happen. Since you can't unlock the clip here, the weight cannot slide off, and you can't safely take the weight off. And this and many other situations like this could cause many weightlifting injuries. So we came up with this idea because we're 3 college students who love the gym, and when we were at the gym, we realized there wasn't a product that could really help this weightlifting experience become a lot safer. 41% of inexperienced gym goers have weightlifting injuries. This is a very discouraging statistic because this not only shows how many people are getting injured from weightlifting, but it prevents a lot of people from trying new things like weightlifting. So our product essentially combines both the clip you see here and the weight to create a product that's a lot safer and easier so that everyone can enjoy a safe weightlifting experience.
So, by combining the weight plate and the clip, what we're doing is we're making a much safer environment for all lifters. Like if you've ever been lifting before and you have weight plates on a barbell, they could possibly slide or fall off. That could be very dangerous to you or even people around you. So by integrating the clip into the weight plate, we're making sure that every time you put a weight plate on a barbell, you have that clip right there. It's ready to go and you can lock it in place. What makes our product innovative and unique is the mechanism to lock and unlock this clip would actually be located along the edge of the plate. What this will do is, if you remember back to that video, if you're benching alone and you get stuck under the barbell, you can actually reach over and unclip the plate from the benching position. This will allow you to dump the weights off and allow you to get up unharmed. So because of this, we're kind of targeting people who work out alone, or specifically people who have home gyms. Now, this is because they often don't have spotters or anyone to help them. So if they were to get stuck, our product would help them out of that experience. Another thing that our product will do is it will give confidence to these lifters, right? If you've ever been benching by yourself and you're getting toward that last rep and you're not sure if you should do that one more or not, because if you do that one more and you get stuck, that could be very dangerous and you could possibly get injured. So a lot of times you're not going to push yourself all the way. But with our product, knowing that you have a way out if you do get stuck, that will give you much more confidence to really push yourself and do that one extra rep and build that extra muscle. So what I'm going to show you next is a 3D model we put together in Fusion 360 of how our plate and clip are going to work together. So this red part here, that's going to be the main part of the clip. That's what's going to clamp down the barbell. That green part there, that's the handle. That's what's going to lock it in place. And then you have 2 pins that hold it all together. So the way this is going to work is this blue pin right in here, that's modeled after a clevis pin, which means this end is going to be thicker. And if you look inside the clip, the red part there, it's going to be thinner. That will stop the pin from being able to go all the way through the clip. So when this is all put together, and you pull the handle down to lock it in place, as you can see the radius gets larger here, that will actually compress this clip together using this pin. So that's what's going to clamp down on the barbell. And in order to lock this in place, it's a little hard to see there, but you got an extruded piece right underneath the handle. And as you pull that over, that's going to fall into place in that hole there, and it's what's going to lock it. And this is what the inside of our product would look like. This gray part here, that's the metal part. We're going to have another one of those on top of that, kind of sandwiching it all together. And that's what our project will look like.
All right. And to buy one of our safe plates, it's going to cost you about $90, which falls in between a cheap and an expensive plate. And the S&T weight plates that are provided here on campus are a little over double the price of our plate. Our plate will consist of 2 main materials, one being cast iron and the other one being the 3D printed material. And the 3D printed material will most likely be 3D printed carbon, which we can buy in a roll for about $50, and we'll make about 5 to 10 plates. For the future, our next steps would probably be making a prototype and then showing our plate out on social media and online. And we would start by making it here on campus with the resources we are provided with. And as our company grows, we would pursue other companies help us producing it on a mass scale. And we would go from not just home gyms, but our company gyms and also school gyms, and using the feedback from our customers to improve our design.
Thank you so much.
So maybe just a refresh for me. So this works for barbells, and if you can't lift it up, you tilt it and the weights fall off. Is that, did I catch that correctly?
Yeah, well, what's going to happen is your traditional barbell with a weight plate on, you're going to have a clip on the outside of that, right? That is, you can't reach that when you're in the bench press position. So if you were to have that clip on and the bar gets stuck, you would be stuck under that. There would be no way to get it off. But with our product, the ability to unclip it would actually be located in the edge of the plate. So as you go down, and if you do get stuck, right, all you have to do is just reach over to the edge of the plate. You can unclip it, and then you can dump the weight.
How can you reach over if you're holding
You can have the bar sit on your chest right here, and you reach over. We did some experiments, of course, with some weights to make sure that it was possible, and it is possible.
Did you think about whether you would protect your design with a patent before you started showing it on social media?
Yes, that was one of our main things when we make our prototype was to patent it. It was one of our first things we wanted to do.
And expanding on that statement, we're looking to make even more plates and even look for the safer plate in the future and patent that as well. So that's a goal with our future of our company.
I think this sounds like a really cool idea. I'm just wondering how many people lift at home? Do you have market research on that?
Well, we know that because of COVID in 2020, that greatly increased the amount of home gyms that we're going to see. For even some public gyms had to shut down completely. We don't have the exact number, but a lot of people who spend that kind of money to make their own home gym, they're going to keep that, and having a membership to a actual, gym, for example, Club Fitness, it's $40 a month, right? That's going to be pretty expensive. And if you already have your home set up, you're going to keep with that. So I think there's still going to be a lot of people after the COVID time where they're going to have that home gym. And this is something that they might be very interested in.
So do you see your key starting channel, the home market or gyms, or where do you see those potential first few channels to market your product?
I think we see probably through, like, as of TikTok and like these social medias, they're starting to have their own stores within the app, and you could put your own product on the market and people will just buy them from there, and like Amazon shipping and all that straight to their house, and once it becomes more popular, expand from there.
As a frequent traveler, have you considered hotels?
Oh, that's a great idea. Of course, hotels would be a great place to put that. Especially some like smaller hotels. You know, you won't find a lot of people lifting. That could be an opportunity where you're caught, you know, benching alone, and an incident like this occurs. And hotels would actually be a great place to put those.
And there's liability issues, so they want to.
That's true. Same with like when we expand, you know, to public gyms. You know, there's liability issues there with lifting. I mean, you do have to sign waivers and all, but I'm sure any commercial gym would rather have their lifters be, you know, even safer and have a safer product.
Do you see any sustainability issues? So you market it, you get them out there. Are people going to have issues with them over time where they start to wear out or have to get replaced?
Well, the good news is it's made of cast iron. It's very durable. You know, it's going to be mostly metal. There's, you know, a few working parts, but the reason we kind of looked for one of our, like we said, our 3D printing material being 3D printed carbon. It's something that I've actually worked with in the past, and I find it to be very resistant, very durable. And I think that's something that would complement the cast iron as well, and it's going to last for quite a while.
So along with that, with creating our prototype, we're going to do lots of tests to make sure it is durable and that we have the right material to create the perfect formula that is going to last over time, so people can really invest in these home gyms and use it a lot. So yeah.
One last question would be, are there like 2 or 3 major manufacturers of plates and gym equipment that you're looking to partner with potentially? Or do, you know, that way it'd be adoption of, quick adoption by those companies? Do you know much about the market on those large players of equipment manufacturers?
I think that's going to be something we're going to look into the future plans, of course. I mean, we do know of some, you know, weight plate companies. You know, we'd have to pitch it to them, see if they're interested. But as of right now, you know, partnership would be a ways away versus the prototype. But that's something we'd look into future plans.
This is not a question, but more like a comment. Do you know how heavy your safe plate will be?
Yeah, it's going to be, well, the good news about this design is what we showed would be like a 45-pound plate, which is standard. And the way to actually, you know, there's 25-pound plates, 35-pound plates, and really the difference you're going to see size-wise is a smaller diameter. And in order to keep the exact same concept, all we would do is, if you remember that from the model, that green handle, all you have to do is just shorten that for a smaller diameter plate, and then you could work with any size, even down to 5 pounds. So you can make this in all standard barbell, or weight plate weights and sizes.
That's a very good point. Another point is you might want to make the weight a bit standard. This I make this comment from a, you know, well, I go to gym, but when I go to calculate or measure the overall weight, you know, you want to get an even number, let's say 100, 120. You have to, it might be a good idea to make sure the weight added by your safe plate, you know, it's relatively easy to add into the calculation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you run this concept by any weight rooms or fitness centers to get some initial feedback to date?
Well, we haven't yet. I have experimented with. Well, I go to a commercial gym. It's Club Fitness, and I did ask I asked like management a little bit about, you know, how much they pay for weight plates and about, you know, how many they buy. So we don't know too much as far as, you know, what the gyms are looking for. But I mean, I've talked to gyms. You know, they buy lots of weight plates. You know, so it would be something that, you know, if we can impress them with our product, it would be a big market, and I think they'd very much like it.
would you need to really provide the weight, or just the clip is the real value, correct? Have you ever thought of just providing the clip and not the weight?
Yeah, well, the clip, it would exist in between the two weight plates. It's not something that can be added to a current weight plates. It's more of a innovative design on the weight plate. So it's not something that we could add to existing weight plates. It would be something that comes, with the weight, the full weight plate with the clip built into it.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Welcome everyone. We are so happy to introduce you to LifeCare, LiDAR Intelligent Vital Eye. It's a hardware and software designed to enhance senior well-being and safety through privacy-focused activity monitoring. LifeCare is a senior care product, a sector that is limited with so many challenges. For instance, we are an aging society. So many adult people will push the demand for adult healthcare facilities. Inside these facilities, adults receive healthcare by the manner of monitoring using one of two ways. The first way is manually by the means of actual healthcare providers, but this has its own constraints. For instance, there is a lack of working nursing workforce. There is a high ratio between the number of residents and the number of nurses, and it is an expensive service. Utilizing technology for patient monitoring like video camera have its own problems. For instance, it might penetrate the privacy and it might read some illumination or light. Accordingly, there is a need for continuous time activity monitoring solution that respect the human values.
I'm excited to introduce to you LifeCare. It's a LiDAR-based remote monitoring device. It takes advantage of the LiDAR sensor, which is a vision sensor that scans the environment where the seniors can do their daily normal activities. They don't have to wear any sensor, and the LiDAR will scan their activities, and if there are any incident or any abnormal activity, it will be detected and reported to the caregivers in order to act. We have two types of services we are providing. The first one is alerting. If elderly is falling down, it will be detected and recognized. Also, if he has any breathing problem, it will be also detected and reported to the nurses in order to take care of it. The second one is reporting. We have a lot of information to be reported, such as the number of trips, in general, the gauge of activity. We have also breathing quality and sleeping quality as well. This will give the nurses all the information and all insight about the overall health of the resident. So basically, this is the set of service you are providing and why you are providing them. Because we did a lot of surveys and a lot of interviews with stakeholders ranging from experts to clinics to payers and facilities in different locations, and they all agree that those sets are the most needed and wanted one. Why LifeCare? LifeCare provides a lot of advantages for different stakeholders and parties in the ecosystem of LifeCare. We're providing a 100% private solution for elderly people with continuous monitoring 24 hours. And also we are improving the performance of the caregivers. It will also give more profits, and we will show you the number later on, and give a good reputation for the business itself. It will also involve people and families to take care of their beloved ones, give them peace of mind, and at the lowest cost possible.
LifeCare as patient monitoring solution can be integrated into the different sectors of healthcare. We choose to target elderly care, and from the different settings of elderly healthcare, we choose to target specifically assisted and independent living facilities due to the fitness and high volume. So this type of industry, the patient monitoring solution, it do exist, and one example of that in Columbia, Missouri here is Foresight Healthcare. They use a depth camera to detect the activity of elderly. So why do we think that our LiDAR solution outperform other competitors? Because our solution protects the privacy while others do not. Our solution can work in day and night while other competitors do not. And in this table, we summarize some of the key technology that is used in the industry compared to our LiDAR solution.
LifeCare is not an imagination or a fantasy. It is existing, and we are revolutionizing the field of monitoring. As you can see here, we did a lot of tests. This is an early proof of concept. This is a real test that we did. This, for example, my partner, he is breathing, and and you can see his chest is going up and down. You can always monitor in real time his breath rate. We have also human falling. If a human is falling down, it will be detected immediately. And we have also leaning on different items. It can be dangerous for elderly, so we are detecting this incident as well.
LifeCare is intended to be a software as a service. Similar to Netflix, you choose the type of service that you like and you subscribe to it in a monthly manner. So we give you the hardware for free and you give us a returnable security deposit, and then you rent the service using a monthly subscription, and there's an optional customer support service. So how did we get these numbers? We did our analysis and we found that there is 3 types of costs that we have. The first one is monthly fixed cost according to these assumptions. The second one is monthly per unit variable cost according to these assumptions. And finally, there is a one-time per unit direct cost according to these assumptions. So we did our math and we found that in order to cover all these expenses, plus get a 20% profit, then this is the subscription cost that we have. So what does that mean? It means that if we started with an initial capital of 100K, we can break even this number every 3.65 years. Accordingly, we stand in front of you seeking collaboration with these programs that transform people from academia to business. We are interested in a grant that is approximately 200K, and this is for fairness equivalent to a mid-range and NSF grant. So with that has been said, thank you so much for listening. My name is Omar, and my partner is Nofal, and LifeCare is for those who we care about. Thank you so much.
I was a little bit confused. Maybe we went through it kind of fast, but is this for the patients to purchase the service, or is this for the facilities to purchase the service?
No, it is for the facility.
And does the subscription cost cover like one room, or is that for the whole facility?
It covers one room only. So we consider this idea in our consideration. Actually, we consider the question that you asked, and we have a plan. And we have a plan to consider multiple rooms together or multiple packages together in the future. Now we are carefully doing this analysis, and the numbers of cost for multiple rooms will be determined later.
Perhaps step me through the payback. So you have this fixed cost of a product that you're going to provide, and there's a subscription that's going to pay for the amortization of that cost, and then the remainder is profits that you reinvest. Tell me how you came up with your numbers again.
So we made some assumptions. We firstly assumed that we have monthly fixed costs, like the rent, salaries, utilities, R&D, insurance, and others, $9,000, as you can see in this table. Now these assumptions. Also, we have a monthly per unit variable cost, according to assumptions again. This is a monthly cost for every unit we sell. So according to our assumptions, then we have service and support. It's $120. Finally, there is a one-time per unit direct cost, according to the assumption that you can see here. Things like the production, installation, transportation, and so on, for every unit we sell. Again, we did our calculation, and to get 20% profit, assuming we have 20 subscribers, then this is the cost. Now, if you are thinking about, no need.
How much will this save facilities in labor hours? Have you thought about that?
Now, LifeCare at this very exact moment that we stand in front of you is intended to not to not to replace the healthcare provider, but actually to assist them. Now, if you think about the problem of monitoring inside these facilities is that and healthcare providers like nurses cannot be in every room at the same time. And even if they are in every room at the same time, they cannot monitor multiple people at once. Now, our part of concept that maybe we did not show you or talk about during this presentation is the assisting feature. Live care. Okay, let me bring the slides. Life care assists the healthcare provider. It does not replace them. Maybe it might reduce the number of healthcare providers that is required, or maybe their working hours, but it does not replace them. Yep.
Well, this might be a minor question, but I assume, well, for your system to work, you should have probably one camera installed per room. Let's say we have a senior citizen. That senior citizen needs to go to the bathroom. Should you have installed just one camera or two cameras, one in the living area and one in the bathroom?
Now, every camera covers one specific room. It does not cover another room.
You talked about the expense of the service being $120 a month. What was that for?
Now, this is, yep, let me bring the slide. Can you go to the slides? Yes. Now, this cost is a monthly cost for each month that, for each unit that we sell. Things like maintenance or support for the customer is included in the $120 cost. Can you open the slide, please? Yes. So this $120 is monthly cost per unit. This is in addition to the monthly cost that is fixed, like the salary. It covers things like service to the customers and support.
So service would be servicing the hardware, not like internet access.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm just confused about the service and support, because you said you have a unit that's like $500.
Yes.
That costs $120 a month to.
Yes.
I just didn't understand what the $120 was for.
Yes. So as a software as a service product, we intend to make this product updated by time. So we are not done with the alerting and reporting feature. Actually, we have other plans for other features that is for future development. Now, implementing these future plans to our existing customers, a part of our customer care is we need to install these updates and to collaborate with them. So we need some cost to manage like data management and these updates and so on. So this will be part of the monthly $120 per unit cost.
So it's really the app or the software that goes, it's the subscription.
Yeah, software.
Okay, I understand now.
Yes.
So any estimates on how much time it's going to take to develop the software for this app?
Yes. First of all, I would like just to indicate to you that we are progressing very well in terms of developing the technology. We have a solid proof of concept. Maybe let me show you some of what we currently achieved. After that, I will tell you how much need to develop that technology. So we are working on it. This is a part of our work in terms of, let's say, gesture recognition of patient. For example, we can recognize a patient that is stretching forward or stretching upward and so on. We have actually, we're very excited about that, the breathing monitoring. As you can see here, I'm sitting here, and this is my chest detected by the LiDAR. And the movement of my chest is detected to a signal, and what do we do by that? We actually measure so many things. For example, we detect the human breath. We can measure the respiratory rate of the human. We can detect the depth of the breath. We can identify the gaps or episodes where a human is not breathing. And this technology is actually very robust. It can be work if the LiDAR is facing you directly. It can work if the LiDAR is facing you from the right, as you can see here. It can work if the LiDAR facing you from the left. It can even work if the LiDAR facing you from backward. Now, this is part of the current projects that we have. In order to develop the concept in a final stage, we believe that maybe a period of 2 years will be good for us.
Any other questions? Listen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, we are Waterfront Wingmen, and today I have with me Joel and Peter, and we are launching a drone lakefront delivery service.
So, picture this. You're out on the lake with your family. Your grandparents are out fishing. Your kids are out reading. You have aunts and uncles drinking a beer. And suddenly your youngest comes up to you and says, you know what, I really want an ice cream. It's a hot day, and you're like, you know what, I can really go for an ice cream as well. But the issue is that you can't pack an ice cream on a boat. You've been out there for a couple hours. It would have melted a really long time ago. But what you could do is go to the marina. Since everyone else is already out and kind of chilled out, they don't want to leave. And even if you did leave, you risk losing your spot, which is not great. This is a common scenario that's happened to me when I've been out on the lake. And these are some other issues that have happened to me as well. When it comes to packing food and packing supplies for the lake, it's difficult to pack cold and hot food because you don't have any appliances on a pontoon boat or a speedboat. Secondly, gas on a lake is super expensive. So you want to minimize trips, especially that aren't recreational. Thirdly, with the average pontoon boat being about 20 to 24 feet long, you want to minimize the amount of space that you're using on the boat. Every cooler is going to just add more cluster, especially when you might have a large family with you. Fourthly, in the mornings, it takes a long time to pack. You were planning to get to the lake at 8, you run into an issue, suddenly 9, 10, 11 o'clock. Lastly, the whole lake culture is just about setting up shop, fishing, drinking a beer, just chilling out for the day. You don't want to have to worry about moving. So going to the marina can just really be a hassle. But unfortunately, this lackadaisical attitude really hurts the local businesses of marinas.
Marinas are seasonally based small businesses that are built on the lake. They rely on tourism for revenue. Their main focus is enhancing the experience for lake goers. So as such, they have little convenience stores, boats for rental, and a dock that you can store your boats on if you have a boat but you don't have a dock at the lake. But they also have a problem. And that problem is that their customer base is only limited to the people who actually pull up in person and come visit their stores.
Enter us, the Waterfront Wingmen. What we do is we provide a drone delivery service to these marinas to help them supply the customer with supplies from local marinas. What we do is we give them a pilot, a drone automation system, an app to purchase food through, and the software system behind that in order to expand their sales. This helps increase profits for them, and it helps improve convenience for the end customer on the lake. In return, we ask for a one-time launch fee from the marina, as well as a licensing fee annually for utilizing our drones and our services. We're primarily a business-to-business model. We're concerned with the marinas first and foremost. However, we will also take a small percentage out of each delivery fee, and then we also have the opportunity to sell advertising slots on our drone as well as on our app for other local tourist businesses.
So to begin the process, you'll make an order on the app. Now this is sent to the marina, who will then package and load the order on the drone. The drone then uses the order GPS location to autonomously approach the boat. Once it's close enough, precise positioning will be determined using a boat dongle handed out by the marina. Your food will then be lowered from about 50 to 70 feet to keep the drone a safe distance from people. After the drop, the marina will return to one of our marina partners. This is Bull Shoals Lake in Upper Arkansas. With the drone delivery service, we've expanded the customer base into a 3-mile radius and hopefully a potential 5 miles. As we expand our service to more marinas, we hope to cover most of the lake. You may notice the population hub there in the city, Diamond City, I believe. We hope in the future on facilitating partnerships between restaurants and marinas to expand our product capabilities.
Now is the best time to jump in because FAA regulations are just starting to relax within the last couple of years for drone delivery companies. Some big players have already started developing their drone capacities, like Amazon or Zipline. But there are no water-based ones yet. And we think that that will be a very potentially lucrative niche. Due to a nationwide boom of companies like Uber Eats, American culture expects fast deliveries day to day. So our team is the best to tackle this because we have experience in mechanical and electrical design, computer programming, drone and radio-controlled aircraft piloting and design, as well as with the problem that we're trying to solve.
To get this business off the ground, we need financial backing to develop the app, market our business, and purchase/modify drones. Once this has been completed, we'll contact various marina owners who will be willing to let us launch our business and complete market research. As we do this, we hope we can find the perfect marina to model and start approaching partnerships. So, do we have any questions?
I have a question. What do you at this time anticipate charging for this service?
So right now, we anticipate charging about 20 to 25% for our service fee on each individual drone. That may seem a little steep, but considering our target demographic, we're looking at upper middle class to upper class individuals who we think will be willing to pay this convenience, especially for a specialty delivery service such as this.
How long will the drone run for without being recharged, and how long does it take it to recharge?
So the drone should be able to fly for about 20 minutes with a margin of safety. So that will give us to where we can make it all the way out to the 3-mile mark and back. And that also, if you have, usually it's about 3 batteries in rotation, you can run all day. So by the time that you expend the other 2, the next one will be up and ready and charged.
So can you elaborate who are your so-called, the target customers and how you plan to reach your customers?
So our biggest target customers, like I said earlier, are our upper middle class to upper class people, as well as specifically tourists. We plan on reaching out to them based off of putting dongles that have specialized ordering chips in boats that get rented out by marinas, so we can easily access them. We also plan on putting out advertisements in local Airbnbs, advertising on the bulletin boards inside of marinas and things such as that in order to get the word out that we're delivering. And then over time, just actually seeing the drones word of mouth should carry.
Word of mouth should carry over because these are touristy areas and people come from all over the world to visit this place. And if they see it happen, they'll be like, oh, that's really cool. And maybe they'll try it for themselves, and then they'll go home and they'll tell everybody about this really cool thing that they just experienced.
So you mentioned the prevalence of places like Uber Eats and DoorDash. What keeps them from coming in and usurping all of your business? We see that at restaurants that multiple carriers will deliver from the same restaurant.
Exactly. Right now, the FAA regulations we were talking about, they were just approved within about the past 3 months. And these are for big businesses like Flytrex, for what else? Yeah, UPS, Amazon, Zipline. So this is super recent. People haven't been able to develop the infrastructure for lake delivery. So we believe if we develop this now, we can specialize and be the #1 company in this area before UPS or Amazon or Zipline or Uber Eats gets to it. You can look at this similarly to Starship like we have here on campus. They specialized their market, they did well, and now they were actually bought out and are a subsidiary, I believe, of either Uber Eats or Grubhub.
I also wanted to ask about, you talked about having ice cream delivered, but more realistically, people are going to want to order beer. Is that legal? Is that something you'd be able to do? I didn't know if there were any FAA regulations that would prohibit you from transporting beer via drone, alcohol via drone, or FTA, for that matter, regulations. And then also, if it is possible, what kind of safeguards do you have to make sure that somebody is drinking responsibly on the lake?
So we haven't looked specifically into the alcohol side of things. However, we know it is, we looked into the aircraft carrier commerce section, and it's best to keep inside of one state because your license only really works for that. Aside from that, I'd have to get back to you on specifically the alcohol regulations. I remember a local business nearby having drive-through like margaritas and things like that, but obviously that's very different because you're in person, able to present an ID. I don't know if, ideally we would hope to be able to collect an ID online, but obviously that's a lot harder to safeguard.
In your business model, do you anticipate owning all the drones, or you're going to lease them, or you're just going to provide the software and specify the type of drones that your software will work with?
So I guess we'll be developing the drones, so we'll have the software that works with the drones. And then it's more of a lease relationship where they get to use the drones and have updated software, have the app curtailed for their specific use case. And then outside of that, we'll actually retain ownership because that helps with like the regulation side of things on having pilots and everything with the FAA.
How will you manage traffic, right? Because there'll be multiple, let's say there's more than one drone flying at the same time.
You mean like in the air traffic?
Yeah, like if you're a pilot, right? Even if there's one more drone in the air, it's traffic. So you might have 2 or 3 places in that 3-mile radius that are delivering at high noon.
Yeah.
So how would you manage the traffic?
Joel, were you one?
Sure. We can put a tracking beacon on each drone that gives us altitude, speed, even like a path. There's an app called Flight Radar 24. It manages every single airplane in the sky that has a tail number. And oftentimes I like to look at that just to see what's going on in the sky. But we can use something like that to figure out where our drones are and how to avoid accidents.
So I believe we'll be operating in Class G airspace, so we won't be too high in order to interfere with like airplanes or small aircraft like that. With regards to smaller drones that aren't ours, we will have onboard cameras to be able to detect and maneuver around those. But with our own drones, we will have that as well as our own tracking software to be able to tell where we are to make sure we don't have any accidents. We do have safety features built in as well.
It should be a safety suite, pretty similar to like if you hit the turn signal on your car and it alerts you if there's a car in your blind spot, something like that would work in that situation.
That's good because it would account for a bird also.
How much do you expect the retrofit of drones to cost?
Well, I guess that's one kind of advantage that we have is that once the technology is kind of developed, then we should be able to mass produce relatively easily. But I guess rough estimate on the cost, like we're looking at retrofitting is just going to be a motor, the sensor suite. So I don't know an exact number, but it's going to be significantly less than actually purchasing the drone off the shelf.
Because this was with the model, this was the drone base that we modeled it after, plus some additions as well. So 65,000. Or 60, yes, sorry.
All right, that's all the time we have for questions. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
All right, I'd like to just have us look around the room for a moment. We have 60 chairs behind us. Now, in America, we have around 85% of Americans every year that experience some form of acne. And 85% of these 60 chairs is 51. So subtract 9 of these chairs, most of the room will have experienced acne at some point in their life. Now, I guarantee that every person that experiences acne is going to try to do whatever they can to get rid of that acne. It's not fun to walk around with. You know, it has a negative outlook on, well, just walking around in general. I don't like it. I think we need a better solution that's not going to damage the skin, that's going to actually work to solve our acne problems in America. So tonight, I'm going to present to you Glassiderm. I'm Jacob Ward. I am a senior in biochemical engineering with a minor in biomedical engineering here at S&T.
Hello, my name is Lacey Chapman. I'm a sophomore biological sciences major.
My name is Jace Billington. I am a junior biological sciences major. So, cystic acne is the formation of pus-filled cysts underneath the skin due to pores being shut by dead skin or oils. Bacteria can get into these pores, causing inflammation and swelling in the dermal layer of the skin. Current treatments consist of chemical peels, dermabrasion, laser treatment, and dermal grafting. All of these techniques are invasive. So the recovery for each of these techniques ranges from 3 days up to 2 months. Each of them is moderately to severely invasive and expensive, the cheapest being about $200. Travel is required to a dermatologist for almost all of these methods.
Current treatments are painful and expensive. They require travel time, recovery time. Our product aims to use the body's natural healing stages, such as like the proliferation stage and remodeling stage, to heal the acne, and we will not have a recovery time or any travel time needed. We plan to make a topical treatment packaged in a glass dropper. We will use phosphate bioactive glass with a moisturizer to moisturize the skin to be applied regularly. And as I said, just like any other serum, it will be packaged in a dropper, applied directly to the face, rub it in with your hands. The ions and the grass granules will help deeply penetrate the skin and fight the acne.
So here we got our customer segment. We are looking to sell directly to pharmacies. We're going to do over-the-counter, so anybody can just walk up and get this. It's not going to have any issues with dosage. It's really not that invasive at all as a chemical itself, so we don't have to worry about over-the-counter issues. It is a niche market. I don't know if you guys are familiar with graphene, but it really hit the market back about 5 years ago. It's been used in pretty much every industry recently. Think of this as the graphene for the pharmaceutical industry and for the medicine industry. This is the new thing, the bioactive glass 45S5. Our key partner is MoSci out of Rolla, Missouri. They are actually the key producers of 45S5 bioactive glass. We can partnership with them and buy in bulk to greatly decrease our costs. We do have our value proposition. We are trying to provide any better performance than any other options we can with this bioactive glass. You get to do at-home convenience, so you can just treat yourself at home, drop it on your face. Super simple application, and we were looking at about a month per vial. So you just go for a month, get your next vial, and just go month by month until it goes away. We are looking at synthesizing and packaging our serum within co-manufacturing to start off. This will really decrease our initial costs, and we can actually decrease our costs over time by moving to manufacturing and packaging ourselves. But we are looking at, again, self-service. It's going to really decrease the need on the customer, make things a lot simpler for them. And we are cost-driven. We have a high-quality product at the lowest price. That's our main goal here. We do have our break-even analysis. We're on $9 per unit. That is a high-end conservative cost with our co-manufacturing costs included. And we're going to cost per unit around $20. Again, that's also conservative. We're really competitive there at $20, most around $30, and that's not including the bioactive glass. And again, at that break-even point around month 13 to 14, we're looking at a cost of just over $100,000. And with our co-manufacturing, again, that is included within our initial startup costs and in our price. So our initial startup cost is going to be $8,000. We're looking just under $1 million in our fixed annual expenses. We're looking to get, at 12 months, just around $1.1 million in revenue, which is going to capture about 1/8% of the market. Our overall cost per unit is going to be $9, again, revenue per unit $20, and profit per unit on a conservative model, $11. And our break-even is 13 to 14 months, and we can bring that down with a higher initial investment if we want to manufacture ourselves. Any questions?
Go ahead. Looking at your charts on break-even, how many units does that represent to break even?
I believe that was around 6,000 units.
6,000 units?
Yes.
Okay.
When you say the cost per unit, that's what you would pay to buy it.
Yeah, the cost per unit, I'm sorry, yes, go ahead.
And then the selling cost per unit, is that the cost that you would sell it to the drugstore for, or the drugstore would sell it to the customer for?
That is the cost to the drugstore. We expect a 50% markup at the drugstore. We don't expect a high markup on the actual shelves.
Okay. And how does that compare, let's say at $39 or $40 retail price? How does that compare with the other topical ointments that people are using?
So most serums we're looking at are around $30 to $40, but we're not seeing the use of bioactive glass in any other product in the market. So being able to sell this at $30, $40, $50 even is really a performance over cost that we're looking at here. So it is going to be just slightly more expensive likely, but I think the value of it is going to be a lot higher.
You mentioned you're beginning your markets and selling to pharmacies and over the counter. Have you considered online marketing?
We can do online marketing, but it would still have to ship to a pharmacy. Because this is through FDA, we can't actually ship through the mail. So it would have to go to a pharmacy.
Okay, so this is this would have to be approved over the. This would be you would purchase this from a pharmacist. It wouldn't be over the counter.
It would be over the counter, but it still has to have FDA approval to be on the counter, as it is a drug.
Oh, okay. So it's classified as a drug now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, right now, if my understanding is correct, you are still in a relatively early stage. And by looking at, the product and the market, I would assume that you have to, start to manufacture, go through a number of, government regulations, probably go find some partners and start to develop your, sales network. So just a thought, would you consider, let's say, team up with some existing business, or do you want to, create an independent business for your product?
Optimally, we would like to have our own independent business so we can expand our own business model and expand with different products. But if the offer was correct, or would suit our needs, we would definitely consider partnering with another company to produce this product, as it really is a groundbreaking kind of product, something that benefit the society as a whole, really.
Can you maybe take one more minute? What is bioactive glass?
Sure.
I mean, and why isn't somebody already doing this?
So they are doing it in hard tissue. So bones, different breaks, and kidneys as well, kidney and liver. They're using it internally and on bone. So it has FDA approval in that sense already. Nobody else is doing it in soft tissue. So what this is a silicate-based chemical that has impregnated with different ions that are used in the healing process of the body. So there's different types of bioactive glass that have different types of chemicals in them. So in the bones, they use different stronger metals that'll regrow bone by themselves. That's the main focus for the hard tissue. With the soft tissue, we're looking for mainly the healing ions that are going to help in the skin. So we have a slightly different variation of this silicate glass. The main goal here is to have this impregnate itself into the skin and give a long release and a slow release, so it heals faster and better over time.
Have you investigated a utility patent on this? Is it patentable?
It is patentable. We have not investigated that at that point, but that's going to cost money. We don't have that money right now, so if you want to give us some money so we can start investing here. So yeah, that's definitely down the line. We'll be working with that.
Are there so I'm thinking of like retinol is used in acne treatment now, but it also has applications for aging. Is this a product that could be used off-label for something like that, or does it not work the same way?
It definitely could. I think the main thing here is it's going to help with acne, but if you combine it with some of our other treatments here, we have the laser treatment, the chemical peel, the dermabrasion. One thing that's fantastic for anti-aging is a chemical peel, red phenol, but it's terrible for the skin. It's 6 months recovery time to go back to real, true normal. And with our product, we can cut that time down to maybe a month or maybe even better. So go from 6 months to 1 month for the anti-aging properties, just combined with another treatment, that'd be phenomenal.
What makes you think that manufacturing on your own would be better than contracting that out?
So I've done a lot of work with different companies that do manufacture themselves as well as doing co-manufacturing. And the cost of co-manufacturing is significantly higher in every case I've seen. And also the quality control from co-manufacturers is almost always lower. So for an initial startup, if we're co-manufacturing and we can control that quality, that's fantastic. But long term, if we're going into bulk, it's not cost effective to continue with co-manufacturing.
One last question. Going back to FDA approval, and is it the bioreactive glass that is what is making this classified as a drug versus a cosmetic?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Anything else? Great.
Thank you.
Thank you much.
The floor is yours, gentlemen.
So, hello, I'm Farza, this is Jay, and welcome to SafeScan, the future of healthcare. So let me just go through a brief overview of what our design actually is. So, SafeScan is the pinnacle of AI-enhanced medical imaging and analysis. What it does is it takes MRIs, ultrasounds, and X-rays at the moment, and it analyzes them and tries to diagnose an injury or irregularity. It's flexible and compatible, and we're hoping that it will be able to use any medical device or operating system, regardless of language, country of origin, or anything of that sort. It's fast, efficient, agile, and it uses a innovative new cloud-based data integration technique to securely store imaging data and learn from it to continually get better and better. So to understand why SafeScan is necessary, let's go through the problem. So the modern medical imaging industry, it's both time-consuming and repetitive, the processes and things that are necessary. In addition, despite all the repetition, it's also rife with medical errors and misdiagnoses. And finally, there is a heavy need for medical imaging, but a shortage of qualified diagnosticians, meaning that there's always going to be an imbalance in supply and demand. And that, now, to look at why these problems are important, we have a little bit of data to show. 30% is the retrospective diagnostic error rate in radiology alone, according to the European Journal of Radiology. The average wait time for a radiology examination for the typical American is 60 days. And finally, 80% of missed radiology diagnoses claims result in permanent injury or even death. As you can see, these are not small, ignorable problems. They are very big ones. That's where SafeScan comes in. I'm sorry, what happened? Oh, so, sorry about that. So SafeScan, as I mentioned before, uses a state-of-the-art AI system. The foundation is a convolutional neural network, and it uses supervised learning to make itself better and better. To show a glimpse on how it works, let's look at these two images. The top image shows a tendon rupture in the calf. As you can see, the problem is a pretty big one, the gaping hole there. When it runs through the software, we get the bottom image. The red shaded areas, which unfortunately aren't too visible here, show what the AI figures to be a big problem. It's shading it, and it's shading it correctly in this picture. The yellow areas are where it thinks it's uncertain. It's telling the diagnostician, you want to check this out? This might be worth reviewing. As of now, it really only works with the more obvious images. However, it could still streamline the entire process by getting rid of the easy-to-spot cases. But the exciting piece is that because it is an AI machine learning algorithm, it can continually improve itself using this data. So today, it's dealing with easy-to-identify injuries. But 2 years from now, it could find small tumors which would be unoperable in 2 months. It could find diseases in unborn fetuses. The possibilities are endless. Now let's look at our finances for a bit. So like most firms, we have a fixed cost, a variable cost, and revenues. Our fixed and variable costs, they're pretty typical. We got office space usage, we got server costs, and we got wages for software engineers and technicians. However, our revenues are a bit more exciting. We're planning to use a product subscription package for diagnosticians, clinics, and even entire hospitals to create a healthy, continuous revenue stream instead of an irregular one on just selling the software alone. In addition, we're hoping to partner up with medical device manufacturers and integrate the software with the devices itself and get a licensing fee out of that. Finally, we're thinking of perhaps getting a pay-per-use plan going for private individuals who'd like to use the service. In essence, we're trying to create continuous revenue streams. We're not aiming to cash out here. And finally, let's look at the potential impacts. So I've already gone through the first two, the lives improved and shortened wait times. To recap, again, the AI can get better and better to both streamline the process and reduce wait times of months to weeks and potentially even days. Furthermore, as it gets better, it could find more and more difficult to spot injuries, which could help people with injuries. It could help athletes with difficult to spot injuries and prolong their careers. It could find inoperable tumors before they actually become inoperable. But the third one I haven't discussed yet, medical advances themselves. If we take this AI and essentially open it up, we could figure out how it works, what makes it tick, the patterns it identifies to get where it does with its diagnoses. And we can actually use that to push the entire field of diagnosis forward. In essence, we could make the entire process better. We could actually revolutionize diagnostics itself. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Farzam, this is Jay again, and we're SafeScan.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a question. So obviously your AI is really a sort of cumulative, absorptive knowledge increasing. And one thing you said is, you'll make it better and better. This seems to be recently, this is a very hot topic in the area. What makes you think, or what is your focus that will allow you to move faster than everybody else? Because to me, it seems like this is an industry where speed to market is critical.
That's a good question. I'd say there are two ways that I would look at this issue. The first is that, well, I myself have quite a bit of experience when it comes to AI and who's doing what when it comes to it, essentially. And while AI is the big thing itself, when it comes to niche uses in specific areas, it's actually not that popular yet because most people don't really know how it works yet. It's like a fancy word they use, but they won't be able to get it running. Aside from that, however, I'd also say that one of the things that puts us ahead, aside from our personal knowledge with this, is that, how should I put this? Is that I myself, when I was because let me put it like this. This is my own previous startup project. The code I showed there, it's actually real code. It actually does work. And throughout that process, I gained a bit of insight into how the medical industry works, how you get images from hospitals, what the HIPAA regulations are. I believe that when it comes to other startup firms, at the very least, I have a distinctive advantage in knowing what's going on. That's about it.
Okay, so basically what I hear is you're faster because you have experience in a certain niche of the medical industry.
Exactly.
Okay. And that being the radiology portion.
Radiology, ultrasounds, and MRIs.
Okay, thank you.
Our target clientele here is radiologists. So we are targeting a specific client. And as far as our micro research goes, we don't see any other competitors out there doing the same exact thing that we are doing. So I think we have an upper point here, basically. And we don't need to market or advertise ourselves. I think if we get into the radiology circles and if we help them realize how this can help them on the long run as well, reduce times, who doesn't want that? That means more money for them, basically. So yeah, that's what we're targeting here. And that makes, we have a foot inside the door already, basically.
So I just wanted to go back. You said there's no other businesses that are doing this yet, but I think I'm aware that they are using AI to read x-rays already.
Only x-rays.
Only x-rays? Yeah. Okay. So, but there are companies out there that are doing similar work?
They are doing it, but they hit problems when it comes to the medical industry itself. It's a difficult industry to break into if you don't know what's going on with it.
Well, I guess what you just mentioned, you talk about image analysis, and I assume that the AI you will build will be based upon this image analysis. Mm-hmm. And as we have discussed, there are other companies that are doing image analysis, not necessarily AI, but they're doing image analysis. Mm-hmm. And if my understanding is correct, AI is built upon, well, we need to feed the AI with data and let the AI learn. Mm-hmm. And given that situation, it is almost the existing companies, they might have more data, more historical data that they're able to feed the AI, meaning that, well, even we have the same coding, probably their AIs same level function. Their AIs might be learn a bit faster. At least they have more data to digest.
That is correct to some extent. When it comes to AI, there are two factors to it. If we could go to... I can do it. So this is one of my reference slides. When it comes to AI, there's two factors. There's the amount of data you have and how you use that data. The AI's architecture itself is very important to how it works. If you have a good understanding of image processing and how ultrasound images and injuries look like, you have a better chance of designing an AI that will actually get you results. Most AIs, if you just program it and set it to train, they'll never produce results. We're aiming to use our own knowledge to create a better model and partner with diagnosticians themselves, locally at the very least and slowly nationally, to get like personalized caches of data to use. For instance, we're hoping to make very efficient convolutional and max pooling layers when it comes to the AI. These are the essential filters and optimization layers that identify patterns in the injuries and use them to get to a diagnosis. We're trying to make it more efficient than others, even if they might have a bit of a competitive advantage when it comes to the amount of data they have.
So this is more like a recommendation. You just mentioned that one of your, almost the biggest selling point is you're able to work with doctors and almost to build upon doctors' expertise and use that to, almost train the AI or let the AI grow with the doctor. I think this can be conceptualized almost as a kind of customization type of a product or service, and that could be a good selling point.
Exactly.
What are the one or two channel or partners that you feel you need to partner with to maintain the velocity, to stay in front of this versus your competitors?
I'd say that when it comes to our partners, the first would be the diagnosticians themselves. When it comes to most radiologists, for instance, when it comes to most companies and AI in general, they see it more as a replacing the doctor's strategy. That's their selling point. They want to sell something that'll replace the entire diagnostics process. We're not aiming to do that. We're helping to partner up with the doctors themselves. We don't want to threaten their jobs or livelihoods. We want to make their lives easier. We're offering a more personal package to individuals themselves than most of the bigger companies would be. The bigger companies, they're typically talking to hospitals and they're getting data, they're training AIs, and they're hoping to replace an entire industry with their AI. We feel that doctors wouldn't like that very much, and they'd be far more happy to partner up with us and our smaller scale project instead.
Another partner I could think of is medical equipment manufacturers, because we'll be working with X-rays and ultrasounds. We need to follow the standards, the imaging standards that they have, and try to make the best out of it. Now, all the equipment manufacturers out there do not follow the same standards, especially the international ones, which may follow a different standard. So they are also prime partners here. We want to make our AI, the software, compatible with all those equipments out there. So we have a wider market reach here. Yep.
Tell me a little bit more about how you would charge for the product or software as a service, or how that would work.
Yep, I can take it on. So we are doing something unconventional in the medical industry. We want to go based on a subscription-based model. So typically how it conventionally works in the medical industry is you have an equipment or a package that you want to sell it to the doctors or the hospitals, and you charge a big sum of price for it because that will be their ownership. That machine will always be with them, basically. Here, we want to make it subscription-based, and that will make it quite cheap compared to all the other equipments and imaging standards out there. We are aiming at about something between 10 to 50 cents per scan if we get at a higher volume. So that's basically nothing compared to the imaging charges they take from the client. We don't want to lock them in, basically. We don't want to sell something and then they're like, oh, we don't like it, and there's no way for them to return it, or like they have to go through a hassle to give it back or get their money back. If they don't like it, they stop the subscription right there. But a very big flow of our product is word of mouth. We want to be better, and we want them to discuss about us, that how it's helping their careers out there. So that's a prime reason we are going with a subscription-based model. Kind of also inspired by Netflix, yeah.
I apologize if I missed it, but what were your initial startup costs?
Could you go back to the slide? Sure. Our initial costs were basically business and technology infrastructure, basically offices and all the computers.
I just looking for a number.
An estimate?
Yes.
Currently, like the current stage at what we are right now, we have a base model for ourselves. So the next step I would be seeing is expanding on our R&D. So that will basically be sitting in a garage and like doing the R&D stuff. Or we can get an office if we go through a Series A funding. So yeah.
If I can just have it. Yeah, our initial costs are actually realistically zero. It's just our work. It's the man hours we put in, but there's nothing else that really needs to be done yet. Now, we can increase it over time, and we will most definitely do that as we expand, but we don't need to get any startup funding itself at the moment.
Maybe to build upon that, what do you think is realistic as far as how many images before you can really, show that this is viable? 1,000 images, 10,000 images, and what's the kind of time frame you're looking at to implement that?
For training the AI itself? Well, going back on my own personal experience, you can get an accurate model for basic images with as little as 1,000 images, especially with the one on slide 5. With an image of this sort, this one can actually be done without AI itself. You could actually use traditional image processing for this one. AI will make it better, which is what we're trying to do. It'll add a bit of a human touch to it, essentially. But we could do it with as little as 1,000 images.
That is all the time we have for questions. So thank you, Team J.
Do we have a picture we know how it works?
Thank God.
All right. Yeah, right. Sure you can. Of course.
Good evening, judges. I am Josue.
And my name is Austin. And tonight we're bringing you the Andy Energy System.
Now, something that we're both really passionate about is sustainability, or rather, having long-term, very important innovations. But when looking at sustainability as a whole, we come up with 3 crucial problems, those being clean energy, waste management, and water treatment. The International Energy Agency reports in 2022 that out of all of the energy produced in the world, only 8% was renewable. The EPA estimates in 2019, only 40% of a whopping 66 million tons of organic food waste generated was recycled. And lastly, upkeep shows that 80% of wastewater returns to the ecosystem untreated. All of these are issues which showed us why we had to get together and had to find a solution. And that solution has to be anaerobic digestion.
Anaerobic digestion is something that occurs in your stomach every single day. In the absence of oxygen, food is converted into energy. And in typical digester applications, the flow begins with the feedstock. Now, the feedstock can be food waste or wastewater. And under perfect conditions of heat and agitation, microbes are able to break down this feedstock and produce biogas and digestate. The biogas is mostly comprised of methane. Methane can be used in CHP generator systems or be further refined to produce green methane similar to the likes of renewable natural gas. Now, the effluent digestate is very nutrient rich and can be used as fertilizer, soil amendment, or even biodegradable bedding.
Now, anaerobic digestion has been around for a long time now, but can cost an upwards of $1.5 million to construct, while only serving very niche markets such as very large dairy farms. Current ADs currently lack the energy and cost efficiency to be implemented on a much larger scale. Remember, judges, heat and agitation are crucial when it comes to maintaining this cycle of anaerobic digestion. But those 2 parameters alone cost too much, and their maintenance is heavy, and it's a giant roadblock when it comes to implementing them on a much wider scale.
But judges, our patented airlift surge technology solves this problem. As introduced in the flow diagram, it starts with pumping the feedstock into the anaerobic digester. Here, under the same conditions as we mentioned earlier, the internal mechanisms agitate and circulate the mixture. In our case, in our design, the methanogenic bacteria naturally produce tiny gas bubbles that are collected in a center chamber producing that surge that you see in the video. Now, if you're asking how can we introduce this remarkable technology to market? Well, it all starts with delivery of our value. How do we deliver our value? Well, that starts with our partners, our
customer relations, and our resources. So right here at S&T, we have our own research team, which includes myself and my partner here, Josue, as well as a civil engineer and an environmental engineer. Our professor, Dr. Wong, is the owner of Frontier Environmental Technologies and the patent holder. And so with his green light, we've looked into pursuing this technology and bringing it to market. In other words, he's given us access to Frontier's IP. And so with Martin Technology, we looked far and wide for our first steps into the market, and we discovered Martin Energy. Martin Energy is a company that specializes in energy systems and bringing anaerobic digesters to market. And so with a partner in Martin, which we connected with early on, we found the perfect way to pilot this technology. Right here in Rolla, in the Vichy Road wastewater treatment plant, which is one of 3 local to Rolla. And so we talked to the plant's superintendent of wastewater and the plant manager, and we've gotten their deep interest into this technology and integrating it. And so with the help of Martin Technology, we can integrate this with the proper monitoring equipment for the inputs and outputs. And then, assuming we get the data similar to that we've seen in our lab, we'd be interested in entering into some sort of licensing agreement with Martin Energy down the road.
All right. Thank you. I think we'll go ahead and open this up to questions.
How will you monetize this?
Yeah, so right now our professor, Dr. Wong, who leads the research, has the patent for this technology, and this patent has been alive for only about 8 years, so there's still a good amount of life on this patent. And so what we imagine is with this first integration, we're going to get some good data, which proves what we've prototyped in the lab. And then through this, as I mentioned, we could enter into some sort of licensing agreement for Martin Energy to expand our markets. So they currently work with many, many treatment plants across really the world. They've got, I think, over 100 anaerobic digesters. They've got some in Australia. I believe they have one that they partnered with on a research project. And so Martin Energy is really going to help elevate and give us our revenue streams once we make this the deal that it needs to be.
And I might quickly add that Martin Energy is kind of the first step because the patent will run out, right? And so the idea is to take it and run, right? Hopefully by the time that patent runs out, we have 2 or 3 more and we're on different iterations. And hopefully with the revenues we get from Martin with those basic licensing agreements, we can make even better anaerobic digesters in the future.
Yep.
Well, the example you provided seems to imply that right now you guys are looking at maybe government as a potential customer. So is that what you intend to do, or is there any possibility that we could have some, let's say, companies, enterprises that come to buy your, at least come to use your product?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because these things can be very versatile, especially with the airlift agitation. It can really expand the efficiency, make them cheaper to make them a lot more efficient in the long run. And honestly, something that I've always thought of as a really neat application of these is, once they're built, they're so self-sufficient, they can sustain entire communities, and they can sustain communities in need too. And that's an application that I've really liked is just, there's a lot of people that don't have clean drinking water, there's a lot of people that don't have access to electricity, basic necessities, and this is a great solution for that.
Yeah, and if I might add, the government is definitely a partner down the line, and in my research, I've noticed a lot of feasibility studies into anaerobic digestion, and this might be the tool that makes things viable. But our first step into market and increasing our capital and finance to use and innovating this technology and optimizing it is with local markets like the Vichy wastewater treatment plant.
Good question. You had at the beginning. You said why current systems don't work is because they're not scalable. What does your model say that says your system has the economic scale that the others are lacking?
Yeah, so in general, when we were talking about scale, we weren't talking about the particular size of the reactor. In fact, the cool thing about our technology is it allows it to scale down. Usually you have these multi-million-dollar anaerobic digestion projects. We have these giant volumes that are run with these mechanical rotary agitators. And so with this technology, it reduces the energy costs and the maintenance to control the system. So that's really our big incentive and what draws us apart from what currently exists today.
And I think a small part of it is just kind of the future plans for it, right? When we're looking at the overall efficiency, it can always be better. But, you know, and a lot of companies like Martin aren't really paying attention to the better upgrades right now because they're satisfied with the status quo. And so with this more in our hands, we're looking at a lot of different upgrades like microcontrollers, we're looking at generative AI, smarter systems, retaining heat. There's really a lot you can do here to maintain and increase the efficiency that companies just aren't doing right now because they don't have to.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, just to extend off of that, we've been told by our key partners that this is a legitimate, feasible idea. And if you just look at the current markets as we've addressed it, if it appears like there's not much competition in the space, either because you haven't heard about wastewater treatment and anaerobic digesters in a couple of years, or, you know, based on what we've presented to you today, you're actually right. There's not a lot of competition in this space, especially for those larger and smaller sized treatment plants.
Based upon that statement,
Yeah.
your assumption is there's no competition because there's a lack of knowledge. Have you run the energy, net energy return on net energy invested that you can sell this as a better system?
What's that? Yeah, so in terms of anaerobic digestion projects in general, they usually have the highest IRR among all of the other renewables compared to solar, wind, and nuclear. But when we talk about how much you can get back versus what you can get in, that's variable. It depends on the size of the reactor and your feedstock. For example, wastewater treatment plants, the wastewater is a much better feedstock than, say, pure food waste. So a lot of times you have mixes of these feedstocks, and that can give you variable numbers of the economics of it. But from everything we've seen with the technology that exists right now, they're profitable. They're just not profitable on the scale and as widespread as we think we can bring it to with this technology.
And, a good thing to clarify is, you know, we've had conversations with Martin, and they, you know, define their efficiency, and they say that it's more efficient whenever waste is in the reactor for a longer period of time. They call it an HRT, a retention rate. But what's happening is they have, I guess, a crude way of that agitation, of adding that heat. This really just, it's less the HRT and more just getting more from what we have. And so that's really neat.
Oh, and I forgot about a really cool example. In Indiana, there's something called Biotown. And Biotown is a whole town that operates off of an anaerobic digester, which is services by a giant dairy farm. So I would imagine the return on that is pretty significant if it can power the entire town.
So based upon, you know, what you guys have mentioned, it seems like it's a great technology that has huge potential. I just want to know, you know, moving forward, what would be the first step that you guys want to take?
Yeah. Yeah, the first step from this point, correct? Yeah, so kind of like we talked about, that Vichy wastewater treatment plant. So we've already entered into some relations and research for the plant, but we'd like to utilize Martin Energy and any sort of financing we can get for this research and establish some sort of pilot reactor, right? Maybe not something that's dependent in order to go through the whole treatment process, but something that can siphon off some of their liquids and solutions and resources that will further prove our technology. So that's the first step. And once they see that this can flow through this reactor and produce energy that could be used by a generator and fertilizer, which honestly a lot of the town and a lot of the grant initiatives that I've been seeing actually are looking into is nutrient-rich fertilizer and compost. So that's where we could first see this being and getting the support of the town. And I don't know where you would say that the next steps would be, but I think that's our first couple. Yeah.
Any other questions? Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Team P.
Yeah. Thank you, judges.
Hello, my name is Harper Reinhardt.
Hello, my name is Ivan Oyen.
I'm Dominic Salvo.
And my name is Elijah Wolf.
And together we present VisionCraft Technologies.
One problem that we see is that millions of visually impaired people on a daily basis suffer with simple tasks such as navigation and independence. And assistive technology falls far behind what they deserve, being expensive and inefficient. We intend to fix that.
Our product and the paired software will innovate and improve upon existing assistive technologies by providing navigation, a novel means of object detection, and text reading to its users. We intend to market primarily towards those who need assistive technologies to replace vision with other senses.
Introducing SoloLens. The SoloLens will have 3D trackings, object recommendations, and dual cameras. And these products will have these current accessibility products will replace the current accessibility device, give our customers best experiments.
Our product will use multiple methods of navigation. First of all, one method of navigation is that it will locate objects within the surroundings of the user, and it will play an audio cue varying in direction and volume based on the distance. This will help navigate users through their surroundings and help them avoid obstacles.
Another mode that our device will feature is the ability to locate certain objects. A computer algorithm will look through the camera feed provided by the cameras in the glasses and be able to detect and identify certain objects in frame. Let's just say you want to find a water bottle. The computer algorithm will look through the vision from the cameras and identify certain objects and eventually find a water bottle. It will then play a tone in the direction of said object so the user is able to navigate and locate said object you would like to find.
Let's start introducing our key partnerships. We hope to work with Microsoft Seeing AI apps to combine the scenes descriptions and the text descriptions, enhancing accessibility with their apps and functionality of our products. We also hope manufacturing our product with these suppliers, Xinhe Electricities and Xiamen Fujixins, because they manufacturing similar products and also offer our OEM services for our products.
Right now, our most valuable resources are our team members, their expertise, and our connections here at S&T. But in the future, we'll need more resources, such as software, customer credibility, an e-commerce site, and manufacturing connections. Our key activities right now are manufacturing a prototype to test feasibility. But in the future, we'll do other key activities, such as more software development, building customer relationships, and furthering software development.
Our next steps include feasibility prototyping, which is creating a prototype to test the viability of our product, ensuring that it'll work properly. Our next step after that is market prototyping, which is using audience responses to develop a minimum viable product for market research.
So why choose us over our competitors? There exist many accessibility technologies for the blind. Many traditional means, like a cane, are less efficient and only solve one problem. We intend to solve a whole bunch of problems. Competitors in the smart glass realm, such as Jordy or eSight, simply adapt the user's vision. We don't intend to market to this clientele. Other devices, such as MyEye or Envision, only implement one of our functions, such as scene descriptions and text reading. We implement other functions that they do not have, such as navigation and object location. They are also priced at excessive price points, which we easily undercut.
For our revenue streams, we planning to sell our product directly through e-commerce platforms because we believe this is the best way to convenience with our product with our customers so they can give us best feedbacks. And depending on the further research, the potential subscription plan may be added in the advanced feature for our products.
So here's a brief overview of the justification for our price point. We seek to price it between $500 and $550. Our primary cost is the actual hardware and its manufacturing cost. We base this current estimation off of a similar pair of smart glasses, the Ray-Ban's Stories. Research and other costs, we placed at around $100, and as on a sliding scale with our profit, we will adjust the amount of money going to profit and research as needed. Our profit puts us at a 24% profit margin, which is competitive, but more market research is needed to determine its feasibility.
We really value our customer input, so that's why we tend to have quite a few customer surveys. And we plan to offer frequent software updates to best meet our customers' demands and interest. We also intend to work with the American Federation for the Blind and local support groups to best make an impact on these communities.
If you or anybody is interested in getting involved with this sort of thing and helping the cause, we would love to have you join us on our journey. Come help us change lives.
Any questions?
If you go back a few slides, to right there. Okay, so yeah, go forward one. Okay, so there you go. So you have your cost structure, the total cost for each item as $550, but you're going to charge your customers $500?
We aim to charge customers between $500 and $550. This includes profit.
Would you also, is there also a subscription service or something that goes along with this?
So this would depend on what kind of software we use. If we end up using a multimedia large language model, we would need to use API keys that charge per call. This isn't feasible for us to pull from our savings, and so a subscription service is needed for constant income.
I'm just thinking, you've got your cost to the customer is so close to your actual physical cost. Is there, you didn't think about maybe raising your price to the customer a little bit to build in a buffer so that you would be making profit?
Well, we are currently making 24% profit margin, and we feel it's competitive, but as we said, I think more market research is needed after the market prototype in order to gauge the demands and what we can feasibly put the price point at.
So, question, if your nearest competitor is offering a product 4 times more expensive than you are, and you're providing more features, correct? Who's the inefficient one? The incumbent or the new entrant?
One of the things that we aim to fix is that all of these companies that are charging more have all their computing power done on board as one solid set piece on the actual device they're selling. Our main selling point that we're going for is that all our computing power is done in your smartphone. And since the smartphone you already have is sometimes thousands of dollars worth of software or $1,000 worth of hardware, we're able to kind of offset that cost because you already have a computer far more powerful enough. The computer in your cell phone has far more processing power that took us to the moon. So we're able to harness that power to use for our own needs without having to put that cost on our own device.
What if I said you should charge $1,000 for your product?
We feel that other competitors do not have wide-scale adoption primarily due to their price point. And our features and price point will make widespread adoption much more feasible among the blind community, along with our community outreach.
So just want to follow up. If my understanding is correct, besides the final product, you also need to develop some kind of app or apps across multiple platforms, and you have to, well, invest in the R&D, so to say. And I guess 2 questions. First, first question, how do you plan to do, app development even across multi-platform, and how much do you, plan to invest there? And a second follow-up, a comment, 25% profit margin pre-tax, it is just too low. Let me put it in this way, just too low.
Okay.
You're probably right. 25% profit margin definitely seems a little low to me, but we're still workshopping that part. App development, however, obviously that is a difficult process. That can take several years at a time, likely. There are definitely a lot of services out there that could help us develop apps for multiple platforms that we'll have to do more research on. And we'll have to work through that process, trying to figure out what service works best for us, what will provide the features that will be needed, like Bluetooth connectivity to our device or wired connectivity to our device if necessary. We hope to we have to take a couple of years and get this product working, make sure our product works by itself, can use the features that we want it to, and at the very least ensure that the app can connect to it and that phones can work with it.
Do you have a estimated timeline of your feasibility prototyping? How long do you think that will take?
So the hardware side of it is something that we have actually kind of been experimenting with. I'm an aeromechanical, so I've been kind of just tinkering around with my own free time, making just a rough idea, and we're able to get the mechanical side fairly quickly. We estimate a working model within probably 3 months if we truly put ourselves to it. The software side, I'm not really qualified to talk about it.
So the softwares that we're using are already proven and many times over. So we're not doing anything new. A majority of the programs we intend to use are open source and don't require the intensive development that other products might need. The only problem I see with software development timeline would be a unique project rather than one that simply aims to do the functionality. So that would come later. After the market research, we would seek angel investors to do the intensive development required to make a marketable product.
And how do you plan to protect your intellectual property?
So we don't have the resources to navigate like the patent process. We don't have the funds and we don't have the expertise to kind of navigate that, but that's something we've kind of been looking into. But the hardware size is not the main thing we're worried about, since all the hardware really entails is 2 cameras and glasses and a way to connect to your smartphone. The thing we're mainly worried about is the software side of it. And since most of that's open source, it's not quite we're just using there, but we're implementing their APIs and their systems into our software. So as big as this project is, most of our own intellectual property is just combining already made technologies. We're not really innovating on anything new. We're just more combining previously made technologies in a unique way.
I add something else for the software side. We kind of have some kind of experiments using the game which is called Minecraft. We create a mod based on Minecraft, and it seems going well. And then, like Dominic says, we still on the research part. In future, we're gonna, because right now for the software side it works on Minecraft, and in future we'll go more deeper research based on that.
Furthering the intellectual property point, I feel that our widespread market adoption early on would ensure our continued success in the market.
If you won today, what would be your next steps? What would you spend the money on?
One by one.
So first step, go to like Applebee's, get a good burger. But after that, we would probably continue working on the software side of it, because that's the thing that requires the most development and the thing that we would need the most work. Talking with the manufacturers to see if they would be interested and available to manufacture on our scale or just a small scale, just to test out, give to some local communities, just to have some visually impaired people try it to see if that'll work, and more just continue developing it until we find a product that we are happy with and ready to sell in the commercial market.
I'm going to add something up. First of all, we're not going to Applebee's, we'll probably go Panda Express. But more events for the software side, because we kind of, like I just said, we kind of have kind of experiment discovered in the Minecraft game, and it does works in the Minecraft. So in future, because we need a giant of our software teams, the software will be our biggest major to focus on. And after that, after complete our software sites, we gotta connect that with our hardware departments together and give a lot of people to test it. And after that, not just test it, we gotta pass several steps because we need to add more feature. We need to make sure our product be unique compared to any other products because this is one of our major goals was.
I just want to provide a very quick feedback. When you guys talking about the open source and hardware, it reminds me of Apple's iPhone. Apple was not the first company to use the touchscreen function. iPhone was not the first smartphone, but when we look at the operating system in Apple, we still recognize it's quite unique, and that was a good selling point. I think you guys can use the same logic. Maybe all the functions behind the operating system, the open sources, maybe you do not design you do not have your own hardware, but as far as you're able to design a very good operating system and the customers feels quite convenient to use, I think that's your unique selling point, and it should be quite easy to develop some property right there.
Thank you.
That being said, do any of you have user interface experience or expertise?
I've worked with user interfaces before. I've developed apps in my free time occasionally, worked with website development. So I have a lot of experience with that, been working on it for several years. And I'm a computer science major trying to study that more as well.
So me and Ivan here during high school got second place in Missouri FBLA's coding and programming competition, and vast majority of that development was a user interface for a convenient attendance tracker.
I add some more on there. I add some advanced feature. We're using a Java Swing, which basically build your GUI features, and then basically we make a time tracking sheet, so whenever student come to the class and they can take attendance, and then those will be reported on us, and then they will give them some prize, maybe give some points, and yeah. Thank you.
All right, and that is all the time we have for questions. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Everyone ready to go? Awesome. Well, hello again, everyone. My name is Molly Crowley. I'm the Senior Experiential Learning Specialist here at Missouri S&T, and it is my privilege to present the winners of the second annual S&T Startup Challenge. This event is brought to you by the Career Opportunities and Employer Relations Department, as well as Commerce Student Programs. The 9 finalist teams who presented their pitches tonight had the opportunity to work with one of our pitch mentors who freely gave their time and talents. Let's give a round of applause to show appreciation to these mentors, Tasia Gordon, Angelina Billow, and Dr. Tim Faley. I'd also like to thank the esteemed judges who came to campus to serve in this critical role. Kevin, Geospatial Director at T-Rex Downtown Entrepreneurship Center. Ellie, Executive Director of Missouri Cures. Dr. Chevy Fang, Assistant Professor of Business and Information Technology at Missouri S&T. Diane Buttress, S&T alum and CEO of Diva Imports. And John Durrence, S&T alum and Independent Manufacturing and Supply Chain Interim Executive and Consultant. Thank you all for joining us this evening. The top 3 teams from tonight's competition will receive scholarship prize money, $5,000, $3,000, and $1,000 respectively, in scholarships that will be split amongst your team. Each team member of the top 3 teams will also receive a certificate of recognition. Additionally, depending on availability and interest, Startup Challenge finalists may have the opportunity to work with Dr. Carla Callahan and Dr. Darrell Del Mank, Missouri S&T graduates who have shared their insights and expertise as consultants to several successful startups. Each team will be receiving a summary of their scores and feedback from the judges later this week via email. So, now without further ado, I will announce the winning teams. When your team is called, please have the team members who are present, or team member, if there's just one of you, that's totally fine. Please come up to the front, take a photo with the prop check, and then just stick around for the end as well. So, third place with their pitch of Safe Plate is Team G. if you guys want to just step off to the side, we'll get another group photo at the end. Okay, and second place with their pitch of Andy Energy System is Team P. And last but certainly not least, first place with their pitch of Glassiderm is Team L. Way to go, Team L. Thank you all again for participating in the S&T Startup Challenge, and that concludes our festivities for the evening. Have a great night, everyone.